season, and I'm a star with my own attitude. I'll express my love and gratitude, 'cause my attitude will change my latitude. Things will go my way, 'cause it's my day. Will go my way, 'cause it's my day. My day. 'Cause it's my day. My day. Tired of getting up in the morning with the same old rut and the same old good. Bugging me, the doctor keep drugging me, and I'm sluggish and I can't get out of bed. But instead I'm gonna look to the light, man. Stop blaming my wife, man. I will do it right, man. Fly like a kite, man. I was doing wrong too long, and I'm sick and tired of singing sad songs. I'ma flip it now, song. I will not wait on anything to happen. I will make it happen. I will take some action now. Won't wait on another day. God said make you way. I will take today. This is the day that the Lord has made. It's gonna be a good day, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. It's gonna be a great day. But this is the day that the Lord has made. It's gonna be a good day, and I will rejoice because it's my day. My day. Season, and I'm a star with my own attitude. I'll express my love and gratitude, 'cause my attitude will change my latitude. Things will go my way, 'cause it's my day. bugging me. The doctor keep drugging me and I'm sluggish and I can't get out of bed. But instead I'ma look to the light, man. Stop blaming my wife, man. I would do it right, man. Fly like a kite, man. I was doing wrong too long, and I'm sick and tired of singing sad songs. I'ma flip it now, song. I will not wait on anything to happen. I will make it happen. I will take some action now. Won't wait on another day. God said make you way. I will take today. This is the day that the Lord has made. It's gonna be a good day, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. It's gonna be a great day. But this is the day that the Lord has made. It's gonna be a good day, and I will rejoice because it's my day. My day. It's gonna be a good day. Express my love and gratitude.
Last year.
Cause my attitude will change my latitude. Things will go my way. Cause it's my day. Happy not because of yesterday, but I'm happy cause I'm starting with today. Things will go my way, cause it's my day. My day. Cause it's my day. My day. Tired of getting up in the morning with the same old rut and the same old cut.
Oh, did you get the link?
Drugging me and I'm sluggish and I can't get out of bed. But instead I'ma look to the light, man. Stop blaming my wife, man. I would do it right, man. Fly like a kite, man. I was doing wrong too long, and I'm sick and tired of singing sad songs. I'ma flip it now, song. I will not wait on anything to happen. I will make it happen. I will take some action.
Did you get the link?
Me?
Yeah. The link in case you get to listen, in case you want to listen to it.
Did you email it to me? Email it to me?
It's on, yeah. I'll text it to you.
This is the day that the Lord has made. It's gonna be a good day, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. It's gonna be a great day. But this is the day that the Lord has made. It's gonna be a good day, and I will rejoice because it's my day. My day. It's gonna be a good day. a star with my own attitude. I'll express my love and gratitude. Cause my attitude will change my latitude. Things will go my way. Cause it's my day.
Welcome to the Aisha I Am Woman show where needed conversations happen. I am your host, Aisha, and I am so excited to have you with me this evening as we talk on a needed conversation. This is what we do every Sunday evening right here on Megasource Entertainment on at 6:30 p.m. Sunday evenings and Eastern Standard Time 7:30, 6:30 Central Standard Time, 4:30 Pacific Time. This is where we meet, and let me tell you something. We have some awesome conversations every week, and tonight is going to be no exception. We're going to be talking with a very special guest who will be sharing with us about her story. And so, one of the things that Aisha I Am Woman does is focuses on the effect of childhood trauma or youth trauma or any trauma on adult behavior. And so this is one of the things that I found so passionate about when I was going through and finding my own self identity. I had to find who Aisha was. And what I found in Genesis chapter 2 was my name meant woman. And I had to discover who this woman was. I am a woman. I am one who has gone through a lot of things. However, I've become a victor, not a victim. And so tonight we're going to be talking to a very special guest who has a powerful testimony. And one of the things I told her about, it seems that we're part of this club that we didn't ask to be a part of. And sometimes it's not pretty. It's life. But it is our life. And so I have a very special guest with me in none other than Miss Adrienne Heights. And she's going to share her testimony about something that happened to her and how she overcame it and how she became a victor in the midst of it all. And I just want to take no further time and just introduce Miss Adrienne. Adrienne, let me bring you on. Now, I know I'm smiling and everything, but let me tell you, I've met you personally, and we have connected even the first time when I met you. And, it was just a beautiful connection, because you have such a beautiful spirit. And I just want you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello, everyone. So I am Adrienne Height, and I am, I like to say, I am a woman first. I am myself, me, Adrienne first, and all that encompasses. But I am a wife and a mother and a daughter and a friend, and I'm the founder of Roots of Bandage, and I'm a survivor.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. When I say I love it, I'm like, let me tell you, survival is something else. Okay, because everybody doesn't survive. Everybody not just naturally survive or naturally live, have life in their body, but everybody doesn't survive in the mind. And so the beauty of who you are. And the first time I met you, you were telling me that you had a special on the Discovery Channel, and it was true crime. And I'm telling you, when I went to watch that, I was like, oh my God, I'm meeting her. I am meeting Adrienne. Because my story has been told, as many know. My mother was kidnapped when I was 9 years old. My sister was murdered. And for 21 years, we did not know what happened to either of them. And to this day, we've still never recovered my mother's remains. and she was murdered by a serial killer. And so, like I said, this is a club that we didn't ask to be a part of, but it's our life. And so we're going to dive into some conversation on life and how we survive, and how we become victors instead of victims. So, as we kick this off, Miss Adrian, come on, tell us about your story. I want you to give it to us the way you would give it.
Okay, so I'll say that it started off into me seeing the news of bathtub murder. And they were saying, this guy was going around Arlington. He was raping women and murdering them. And when I saw it on the news, I just knew, like I felt in my soul that I was next. And so with that being said, I started calling everybody and, just saying, hey, I need to move. I need to get away from here. I need somebody to come and help me move because, the guy's going to get me next. And everybody just thought like, okay, she's tripping, he's not coming to get you. You need to stop watching the news. You need to, stop feeling that way, just like thinking I'm, half crazy. And so I moved. I found another apartment and I moved. And when I moved, I started having feelings like I was being stalked, like somebody was following me, or when I was driving home from work, and it seemed like every turn I took, he took, and even when I would go walking in my neighborhood or be at the store, I felt like somebody was following me and watching me. So it had gotten so strong to a point to where my big sister started coming to spend the night with me. And so she was like, I'm just going to come spend the night with you, and just about every night, for maybe like a week or two, she spent the night with me. And so finally, I read myself a letter and I said, today's going to be the first day of the rest of my life. I'm not going to have my sister spend the night with me anymore. I'm not going to be living in fear. I've got to get past this. Tonight I'm going to play my music, play my jazz, turn the TV off. I'm not going to sleep with a light on. I'm just going to, live differently. That was my letter that I wrote to myself. And so my sister called and she was like, you want me to come over? I said, nope, I got it. I'm going to be a big girl tonight. And so that night, when I went to sleep, I woke up because I heard a sound. And so the first time, my sister, actually before that, my sister, my mom, and I were on the freeway. And so we were on the phone talking as we always did. And they said, well, we'll just talk to you until you fall asleep. And I said, okay. So I heard a pop, pop. Like that, a sound like that. And so I said, oh my God, y'all, I just heard something. I'm like, oh, here I go. I'm hearing stuff now. I'm tripping, So my sister was like, you want me to come over there? Because I can come over there. And I was like, no, don't come over here. I'm going to be fine. I'm about to, just stay on the phone with me until I fall asleep. So I went to sleep. My next conscious thought was I was waking up because I was hearing a sound. It was like, that was the sound. And it was black dark in my apartment, and the sound that I heard was him walking towards me. And he had on some pants, like wind pants that everybody used to wear. And so he was walking towards me, and I'm laying there. The way my room was made, my back was to the entrance of the door of my bedroom, and my face was towards the window. So that night, I decided to sleep in the dark. So it was dark in my room. So the only thing that, was coming in was the light from the street light. So I began to pray, Lord, please don't let nobody be in here. Please don't let nobody be in here. And as I turned over slowly, here he comes, running towards me, jump up on my bed and grab me by my mouth and tell me to shut up. And he's like, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. If you make a sound, he's like, you feel that? It was a gun. he had a gun in my back, and he was like, I'm gonna have to use this. If you scream, I'm gonna hurt you, but if you don't scream, I'm not gonna hurt you. And he said, okay. And I said, okay. And so from that point forward, he was in my house about maybe 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Which, yeah, and it had to been like the longest night of my life. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so so many things like were said that night. He knew my name. He asked me my name, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna tell you my name because I don't want to remember this. And he was like, well, how about I call you Adrian? He knew everything about me, and even at one point, I was looking out the window, and he was like, why are you looking out the window? And I said, somebody's coming over here. He was like, nobody's coming over here. Nobody ever comes over here. And it's like I didn't put to my thoughts that he was the person, that I knew was coming for me. It was just like, in the moment, just thinking like, this fool knows my name. He knows nobody's coming over here. In hindsight, I understand now that he had to have been watching me and, everything like that,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was crazy. I was talking to him and I asked him, was there tomorrow? And he said, of course there is.
Wow.
And I said, but is there for me? And he stood there like he was just thinking about it, like he contemplating, should I let her live or what,
Mm-hmm.
And then he said yes. And I said, do you promise? And he said, I promise. Like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he was we were just like talking the whole time. Like I was asking him stuff like, why are you doing this? Like, why didn't you just come over here, knock on the door, introduce yourself? Like it could have been, you just never know
Mm-hmm.
what you could have, you never know, like, why are you doing this? And then, like he said, the devil keeps making me do it.
Wow.
And it was in that moment where I realized that he had done it before. And I said, oh my God, you've done it before. And he was getting ready to leave, and he pushed me by my head back to the ground and raped me again. And it was just craziness. I remember asking him, was he ever going to come back? Is he coming back? And he said, I'm pretty sure you'll move. So it's like,
Wow.
he was very calculating. He told me that I was different from the others. And, what's so crazy to me is that before he left, I had told him, like, I was like talking for my life, I think, like, like fight, flight, or freeze, and I believe that the only reason why I lived is because I didn't fight, because he had the other two ladies that he killed that, were known that he killed, and then he had the one lady that he beat her so bad that she had to have reconstruction, surgery on her face. And I think I walked away mentally, emotionally, broken, damaged, but I still walked away with my life, in which so many other people did not. And I think, like, for years, I really struggled with God allowing me to live and other people died. I just felt like, excuse me, I just really felt like I really didn't deserve to live more than they did. And recently, while talking to someone, it just like I come to the realization that I felt guilty for living because they died and I didn't want to live. And I felt like, I could have been the person that died and they might have wanted to live afterwards. I didn't want to. That was like the hardest thing, was living after the fact and living with the memories and the thoughts and over again the nightmares of what happened that night. Even though I survived, it was a hard thing.
Yeah.
But then, like, to find out, like, before he left, I asked him to go to the bathroom. And I went to the bathroom, and he told me, don't turn the light on. When he first came, he told me to turn the light on, and I said no. But when he was getting ready to leave, he said, "Don't turn the light on," and he allowed me to go to the bathroom, in which that's where he actually killed people at. You know,
Yes.
God just would not let him take my life, and so I'm really thankful today. I'm thankful, because even when the ambulance, like when he left, as he was leaving out, I had told him I was going to give him 5 minutes to leave before I called the police.
Mm-hmm.
And as he left and went to the door, he couldn't unlock my door. So I had to tell him how to unlock the door to get out. And as soon as he went out the door, I ran behind and locked it back, and then ran and called 911. And then when they got there, it was like I was just out of my mind. Like I went from sane to crazy in like probably 10 minutes tops. It was that bad.
Wow.
And from that point forward, my life would change forever.
Wow. Life changing in a moment. So I want to ask you, like, had you always been very sensitive to your environment or discerning? Because when you talk about where you felt something was going to happen, you felt it inside. And I say this often, even about the case with my mom. I used to have dreams when I was younger. I would have dreams all the time. My mom would. My recurring dream was that my mother took me to the grocery store and she left me in the cart in the grocery store, and I couldn't. I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And whenever she left me somewhere, I would always cry. And so when it happened, it was like, oh, okay. It was like, not that you want it to happen, of course, but I think God prepares us. So tell me a little bit more about that. Had you always had that sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been, I still am.
Yeah.
It's like the craziest things, like I pretty much don't like people. If you really, really know me, you understand how I am and how sensitive I am to the spirit. So if I'll tell you things like, hey, such, whatever it is that I feel, I'll pray on, like I'll feel it coming. I'll feel the danger, or I'll feel like, hey, something is getting ready to happen, let's pray. Or, don't go over there. I feel in my spirit you shouldn't be there today. Like I'm very sensitive still to this day. And I always, even as a child, I always was, whether it was something to come spiritually or naturally.
Yeah, yeah. And so what was the inspiration behind the letter? When you said that you wrote the letter, this is going to be the first day of the rest of my life. So what was like, were you just saying that naturally, saying, okay, I'm just going to make this declaration to say, hey, my life is going to change from here, whether or not you felt the difference inside, but you just said it, just like, I need to write this letter because I need to make a declaration that it's going to change, or I won't feel this way.
I think that it was me feeling the onset of what was about to happen, right? And not wanting to live in fear. Yeah. If that makes sense. Because at that point I feel that fear was like taking over me. It was taking over me. Like I had prayed, like I even dreamed of it happening, but just thinking it was a dream. One of the things that I told the investigators when it first happened was I dreamed it, and but I couldn't stop it. And so, like, even growing up, I would tell my mom things, and even now she'll tell me, hey, just pray. They call me A. She'll say, just pray. And as a little girl, I remember her telling me all the time, just pray. Like, when you feel those feelings coming, just pray. But in this instance, I felt that I could not live in fear the way I was living in fear. But it had gotten so deep to where, as an adult, I was having someone to spend the night with me. And in retrospect, afterwards, the same thing happened again. Like my friends and my family, people from work were going home with me to spend the night with me because I was like a zombie at work because I was up all night watching the doors, watching the windows, making sure I was safe. I was struggling.
Yeah.
Once I finally, because when I first got raped, I moved out of my apartment. So after the rape, I went straight to my parents' home. And my friends, my family, everybody got together, packed up my stuff. I donated a lot of furniture to not Goodwill, but it's another one. I donated all of my furniture, so I just told my parents just leave the door unlocked and just let them come get it. Wow. That's how serious it was. I was like, I'm not going back over there. So, just go ahead, whatever. And so my dad, he slept outside of my apartment for like a week, waiting just in case the guy came back.
Yeah.
And he never did. And I slept in the bed with my mom. So probably about, I want to say 3 months straight, maybe 4. I slept in the bed with my mom.
Afterward what happened?
Wow. From the night that I came from the hospital.
Okay.
For like 3 to 4 months, I stayed in the bed with my mom. And every night I watched Friday. And all day long I watched Friday. That's
the movie Friday?
Fifth Tucker. I had to have something to take my mind away from my thoughts.
Yeah.
So that was just like a complete, flip.
Yeah.
But it was funny. So all day and all night, that's what played in my mom's room was that. And if that wasn't on, then Mariah Carey's Butterfly was on.
Okay.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Butterfly, the music, the song called Butterfly.
Okay.
Or Friday on the television. That's what it was. And at night, it was nightmares and waking up screaming to not being able to eat. It was something else that I survived, but it was hard. It was very hard.
Right. So I have 2 questions. One question I have was, one, how did he gain entry into the house? And then also that you mentioned a pop. I wondered about that when you said that. What was that sound? I understand about the pants, but the pop. And then how did he gain entry to the house?
The pop was him gaining entry. The pop was the sliding doors at the apartment.
Okay.
So he cut the lock out. So the pop was the top and the bottom part of the lock that he cut out. That's what I heard.
Wow. Jeez Louise. And so you mentioned about surviving, and they call that survivor's remorse, and because other women had done it. He was obviously a serial rapist and killer. And,
right.
And that leads into our next question, and you kind of touched on that. How were things in the days following the rape and the assault and attack? How did you process that? I know you mentioned, you had your family around you and people coming to the house and stuff, but walk me through some other things that that help you to survive. How did you do it?
I can only say that the only way I survived that is God. And because at the end of the day, I stopped talking. So I stopped talking. Even when I went back to work after about 6 months, I still didn't talk. So I would sit there. I was dating somebody. I had been dating somebody for like, I think at the time I was raped, we might have been about 2 years in. No, maybe about maybe like a year in when I come back to work, almost a year. And I remember just like sitting with him, and he would just sit with me in silence, like no word. And even when I would go out, like my sister took me to one of my aunt's house, and everybody was there, and I'll never forget, one of my older cousins came out and said, "I see you got Sybil with you." And it was like saying, the movie Sybil, when the lady was considered crazy called her name was Sybil in the movie. He was like, I see you have Sybil with you because I didn't talk. I was just silent. And
Now, did they know what happened to you?
yeah.
Jeez. And that goes to another a statement is that people can be mean. Like, regardless of what you go through, people can actually be mean and insensitive to whatever you're going through. You know, I had that experience when I was younger. A young girl told me, "That's why you ain't got no mama." Really? Oh, okay. I'm 9, 10 years old, and you can be that mean to a person. People can be a little heartless when it comes to um, other people's plight, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think,
Go ahead.
I think that it's basically, I think, because you know how people say you can't, like my husband likes to say all the time, I can't tell you how to feel. You know, you feel how you feel. And it's absolutely true. You feel how you feel. And from another person's perspective, they can't feel what you feel. You know? They can't feel it. I think the only person, like, I really feel, I think me and my husband are like, we have like this weird connection, and I can feel him. Like I can feel him. Like if he's hurting or something's going on, I can feel him. Or my daughter, I can feel them. Yeah. Like I can feel their spirit.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I think like for the normal person, they can't feel your spirit. They can't feel you. They don't know how it feels to walk a mile in your shoes, not even like a half a step. You don't know how somebody else feels until you're in that moment, and even in that moment, the feelings aren't duplicated.
No,
they're not duplicated.
Yeah.
You know, you only know how it feels to lose somebody, or how to hurt, or how to be broken from your perspective, and that's generally surrounded by your life's experiences, how you were raised.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think people can be so heartless. Like I didn't talk to him for years, but now it doesn't bother me when I see him or anything, because I know that there's no way you understood how I felt in the moment. You just thought it was funny.
Wow. Now I have a question from Shantae. She said a lot of investigations report that the culprit will often intentionally make contact and it be so unassuming. How did you overcome interactions with men you don't know now that you've begun healing? And again, this happened as a timeline. This happened back in 1999, correct? So it's been a while ago, yet the pain still obviously is, you know, it can still remain. How did you do that? How did you interact? How, you know, how did he even know you? You know, I mean, do you have any idea of how he knew you at all?
How he saw me. He didn't really know me,
okay,
per se, but he saw me, and he first saw me from a club that I went to, Jamie's Christmas. And he was a bouncer at the door. And I did not remember him from there in the beginning. But what's so crazy is after I actually saw his face, I remembered him at an IHOP that night. We went to the state fair, myself and one of my good friends. And afterwards, we come from state fair, we went to IHOP, and we were sitting there, and I remember where he sat and everything. Like I remember that. I remember so much, which is crazy. But and so after it happened, when I finally went out again, one of my friends asked me to go to Jamie.
Yeah.
But to me, that's where he was. When we got there, I told her I had to leave because I felt his presence there.
Wow.
And so I left. I was like, I got to get out of here. I feel his presence. Like I'm looking around and I'm like, oh my God, he's here. Like I felt his spirit so strong. And so I left, I left and went home. That night I was so afraid. I pulled over. I pulled over where a cop was parked and asked him could he follow me home because I was just too scared. And I already didn't want to go out. I was just trying to get out. It had been a long time since I had been out anywhere. I didn't go anywhere. And so I was like, okay, I'll try it. And when I went, I felt him there. And I didn't even know this until we're doing, I got something going on right now. And they told me that when they got the transcripts to do this thing that I'm doing now, they said that in the transcripts it showed that me telling them that because afterwards I called the FBI and told them that I felt his presence there. They went back to that place, and then they said that's ultimately how they ended up finding him.
Wow, at the club.
Right. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I have another question from Lucretia. Was the club the place where he found all of his other victims? Did you get
all of them had been there.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
It was like two places that we've been. Jamie's and also it was this car wash on Arkansas. And so that was a place that me and my friends hung out as well. So two of the ladies that had got murdered had also been there. They'd also been to Jamie. So it was like weird. One of the people had actually met him. One of the ladies met him, gave him her phone number and everything, and and he ended up going back and raping her, and she was a police officer. So yeah.
Wow. That wow. Is there a number of victims that he had? I know after 3 of the similar crime, they're labeled as a serial killer or murderer or rapist or what have you. Was there a number of victims?
I think I've only met the two that were murdered, and then I think it was 3 of us that testified in the trial, and then the head investigator over everything said these are only the women that they knew of. They felt like there were even more than just us because he was such a calculated, person. The things that he said, the way he did things. He was married. He had a child.
Oh my goodness.
And he also worked as a janitor. Not janitor, but what is it called? The person that goes throughout the apartment complex and fixes stuff. That's what he was.
Maintenance man.
Maintenance.
Yeah.
Thank you. He was the maintenance man at the apartment office for the 2 ladies they killed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's I'm saying remarkable, but remarkable is a good word, but this is like just mind blowing. That experience, it's, and then even to see you here talking sane, it's like God is so faithful. I'm just ever and eternally grateful in the midst of all things. Not that you thank God for what happened, but in it you say, okay, Lord Jesus, you give me the ability to keep my head, keep my mind, and you talk so clearly, and you have such a strength that comes across, that you're able to deliver your testimony in the way that you do. And to me, and we're going to get to this question later, our responsibility with our testimony, how do you deal with that responsibility? Because we do have, it's a precious jewel, it's a hard thing and it's a heavy thing that we have, that people who go through tragedy have to deal with. But we have a responsibility to use it, no matter how ugly it is. So tell me, and this kind of leads into our next question, how long did it take for you to recover?
I will say that, and I don't really take it I don't really take it lightly. Like to say I recovered because I feel that every day that I'm alive after that is a process of healing.
Yes.
If that makes any sense. Process of healing. I go to counseling, and
you still go to counseling?
I do. I recently started back.
Yes.
I recently started back because I do share my testimony, and life is still going on, and I help a lot of people deal with all kinds of things with trauma and mental health and behavioral health, and it's so much on top of what I already carry. So I still go to counseling. I go to counseling, and I think that it's very necessary. And I think that it took me a long time to get to the place of feeling whole, feeling healed. And that's where I am. That's the place I am in my life. I feel whole. I feel healed. But it took me 20 years just to start telling somebody. Like, I had friends that had no idea that I was the last survivor of baptism. I had people that I talked to every day that had no idea that's what I experienced. Like, still to this day, there are probably, people that don't know much about me, but they're with me. But I'm not a big sharer. Sometimes I think I'm that awkward friend.
The black
I like to laugh and talk and stuff, but I don't like to be edgy all the time. And then I don't feel like people around you always have the capacity to carry what you carry. And so I don't always share, but I think it took me about 20 years to begin to heal, to begin to get into a place, because I had my daughter, and I feel like I was raising her from the scope of fear. Like, I'm still afraid, I'm still terrified, I'm still looking under the bed, the doors, the windows, making sure everything's locked, walking upstairs, checking her room, leaving the light on, all of that for years. And then finally, it's like something broke in me. I met the lady who raised Wendy Prescott, and that's the one of the ladies that got killed. I met her at a doctor's office, not even knowing who she was, and she asked me what I was doing, and I said, I'm making a post on Rip the Bandage. And she said, what is that? And so I was telling her, and I said, well, I'm the last survivor of the bathtub murders, and I'm now trying to use my story to help other women. And she said, I am Wendy Prescott's aunt. I raised her after her mother was murdered when she was little. I raised her and her brothers. And she said, we talked about it, and she hugged me, and she said to me, I'm so glad you lived. And it was like, I think it was life-changing for me, because I think I needed to know that it's okay. Like, you don't have to carry, like you said, survivor's remorse. You don't have to carry that guilt of living because other people died. And I'm so thankful, that God gave me another opportunity to live and to be healed and whole and at peace, where I'm no longer living in fear, because that was a hard thing. That fear, let me tell you, that fear is something else, because you can get to a point where it paralyzes you. And like, I believe that everybody has a little bit of fear. Like, everybody has a degree of fear. You might be afraid of ants, afraid of rats, afraid of birds, afraid of, walking into dark rooms. You need your light on, But I think that when it comes to that debilitating fear, that you're not supposed to have that. God doesn't want us to live in fear. The Bible says that He doesn't give us the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. And so when you realize that that's where you are, you have to speak life into yourself, and you have to find those things that God didn't give you. He didn't give you that spirit, so He didn't give it to you. Something did.
Yes.
So when I realized that that's how I was living, and I did not want my daughter to be raised in that, it changed my life a lot. So Yeah, I think it's the process. I think it's the everyday process, and I think that you never stop working on you.
Yeah.
You don't ever stop reaching for that next level of peace, reaching for that next level of wholeness, because in this journey you'll find that you have triggers, and sometimes something will trigger you when you'll think, oh my God, I'm not healed. I'm not where I thought I was going to be. I'm not there yet. And that's when you find out it's a process.
Yeah.
You don't know what's in you until God shakes the bucket a little bit and then pulls you back into prayer, pulls you back into your closet and say, come on, let me heal you in that area that you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And so that's how I feel about healing. I believe that it's an evolution that continuously happens.
Okay. Absolutely, I absolutely agree. And so we have a few more questions. Is that of course, like we said, this happened in 1999, and you can share a little bit more on the guy who the assailant. Um, so one is, have you been able to forgive him? And then someone asked, Lucretia asks, if he's in jail, and you can share on that, and then we'll talk about Petra's question on have you been able to forgive him? Um, One, is he in jail? We know the story about that, and I do want to make sure that we clarify that this is the bathtub killer in Arlington. He was you know terrorized the city of Arlington uh, back 1996 to 99, correct? And then your story is on true crime as well. You have two, right?
I have what is it called? Surviving Evil and My Worst Nightmare.
Yes, yes, yes. I think I watched both of them. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is it's very powerful. But I didn't get the story on what happened to him in the aftermath. So share with us, where is he?
He is dead. They executed him on my birthday, 2009.
Wow.
Yeah, he was executed on my actual birthday in 2009. And I'm telling you, it's bananas when you think about it, and when you think about it from that perspective, because I struggled with, I'm not that person. And, I know people would think I'm crazy for what I'm about to say, but I've never, ever believed in the death penalty. I just don't believe that another person should be able to say, I'm going to take your life. I just don't. And even after the fact, I don't, which is weird. But the way that God allowed it to happen was that they executed him on my birthday. And to me, it was like on the day that I was born, God took his life. Like he allowed his life to be taken. Like he was saying, you need to live, because him coming the day that I met him, I feel like I died. And on the day that I was born, he died. So it was like, to me, I feel like it was just screaming from heaven, live. Like you got to live. You got a right and a reason to want to be alive. And I'm going to show you how special this day is. And I was going through so much on that day. Like, I was married at the time to my first husband, and it was so much craziness going on. He didn't even come home on my birthday. So, like, there was no hello, none of that. My special presence that day was that execution, not even knowing that it was happening that day. Like, you know how normally they send you the letter saying somebody's going to be executed on such day if you're the victim or whatever.
Yeah.
They'll ask if you want to be a part of it. None of that happened. I don't know how I missed that, but yeah, that was the day.
Wow. Now, have you been able to forgive him?
I forgave him a long time ago.
Yeah.
I forgave him even when I wasn't at a place to forgive myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I was able to release him.
And that leads to a question about the deserving of love, right? Someone asked me, that the other day. Have you forgiven yourself? I mean, you haven't forgiven your mom. That was my case. You're still angry with your mom, and you know, do you feel that you deserve love? And
Mhm.
that's a big question. Like you said, you issue forgiveness to him, right? But
Mhm.
sometimes, like perhaps in those cases, it could you could think about, well, what if I had not gone to the club? What if I had not uh, hung out with my friends? What if I had just listened to the premonition within,
Mhm.
and not gone into that space? You know, and then you have to issue forgiveness to yourself, but you decided to issue forgiveness to him
Mhm.
before.
Before I forgave myself.
Yeah.
Because it's like you play the blame game inside, and
Mhm.
I know like so many people do this on a regular basis. Like you blame yourself for the situations you get in. I've come to a place in life now where I understand that you have to accept what the Lord allows in every place that your feet tread upon, every place that you go.
Mhm.
If God allows you to be in that place, it has purpose on it.
Mhm.
It has purpose on it. And so even if you don't understand, why, or, how did I get here, or why would you even, but it's all a part of the process of God making you and
Yes.
growing you.
Yes.
Somebody said to me one time, you're only a woman of God. You only saved because of that rape that happened to you. And I said, wow.
Wow.
Didn't get angry. Let me tell you,
Mhm.
it was like God spoke to me so quick, and I said, "Thank you, Lord."
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, you know what? If that was it, I thank God for that rape. I thank God. I thank God for every tear I cried behind it. I thank
Mhm.
God for the time, the day that He popped that lock on that door. I
Wow.
thank God for whatever it took to get me into that place in God where I understand Him and I know Him and I have a personal relationship with Him and we fellowship. If I know Him and He knows me, if it took that kind of breakdown to get me to the breakthrough, then
Mhm.
Lord, I thank you. I
Jesus.
thank you for that race. I thank you. Everything, I believe everything has purpose.
Mhm.
I believe there's not one thing that can happen that is not in purpose, on purpose for your destiny. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and you have to accept what the Lord allows. And I think that we get caught up and sidetracked, and be in a place where I was at, where I just refuse to live anymore. When you don't understand that everything that God does, or everything that He allows, the Bible says that all things work together for the good of them who love God and are called according to His purpose. So even when it doesn't look good, it's for my good.
Mm.
You know.
Yes.
But when you're going through heartache and heartbreak and hard times, you can't see that because you're right in the middle of the pain. But if you can just hold on and look at God instead of looking at where you are, then you can come out of that.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. He gives strength to the weak. In our times of weakness, God's strength is made perfect. It is
Made perfect.
perfected strength.
Mm-hmm.
The valley moments of our lives, God comes down and He strengthens us.
Yes, He
And He
does.
gives us that perfect strength. When we can't lean on anybody else, when we don't know where to go, God's strength
Mm-hmm.
is made perfect in our weakness. In the
Mm-hmm.
darkest hour of our lives, God, let me tell you something. He will come through, and He will, like the poem talks about, the footsteps in the sand. When I only saw
Mm-hmm.
one set of footsteps, that was Him. He was
Yes.
carrying me when I couldn't carry myself, when I didn't
Listen.
know what to do, when
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know where to go, when I didn't have any answers. Cried myself to sleep a whole bunch of nights.
Listen.
You know,
See.
it's let me tell you something.
he,
God is ever faithful. I'm
he is
grateful
so faithful.
for His faithfulness, even in the midst of the valley.
Mm-hmm.
We want to thank God in the peaks, but how are you thanking Him in the valley of your life?
Yes.
How are you giving Him glory? How are you honoring Him, even in the valley, even in
Mm-hmm.
the darkest moment of your life? How are you, you know, giving Him glory? You know,
Right.
and
Right.
we want to, and that leads to our next question. We overcome Him by the blood of
Mm-hmm.
the Lamb and the
Word of
word
your
of our
testimony.
testimony.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we talked about a little bit earlier is how we have a responsibility with our testimony. I have a responsibility to use what has happened in my life to strengthen somebody else. You know,
Mhm.
after you have been made strong, go strengthen somebody else. That's your job. That's your responsibility.
Mhm.
No, and everybody doesn't face the lot that you do. But if God graces you with it, if He gives it to you, what are you doing with it? You
Right.
know, and I talk about, Aisha, I am woman, in that um, the effects of childhood trauma on adult behavior. And I've realized that some things that happened in my childhood, most of the things that happened in my childhood, affected how I behaved as an adult. And so,
Most
what did
definitely.
I do with that? And so now, as an adult, I have a job, I have a
Mhm.
responsibility, and that responsibility and that purpose is to go strengthen another. And so I want to ask you, will you feel, how are you using your testimony responsibly? And we talk about rip the bandage and we talk about all of those things, but how do you feel about that responsibility now?
I think it's a very big responsibility because you can either allow what happened to you to destroy you, or you can allow it to shape you, and then you can take that and use it for God's glory. And so I think that I'm very intentional about my words. My words. I'm very intentional with my words.
Yes.
I think that sometimes I'm socially awkward in moments because sometimes I don't say anything. But I think that you have to be intentional with what God has entrusted you with. So I think so many people needed the gift that you carry.
Yes.
You know, I think that people need the gift that you carry. But with most people, the gift that you carry was birthed out of pain.
Come on now.
So sometimes it's
Come
hard
on.
to it's hard to it's hard to display that because we are still in pain in moments. And so I make sure that I'm telling somebody, even in moments where I feel low, Lord, I thank you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then just sharing how, if God can carry me through this, I believe that He can carry you through. There's not anything that you can go to that God can't bring you through. There's not anything, any water that you will ever trudge through. There's no valley that you'll ever be in that's so hot, that is so dark, that is so bleak. There's no fire that you'll ever walk through that God won't allow you to come out not smelling like smoke, unsinged, So I think that once you go through and you come out, you have a responsibility to encourage somebody else. Like you said, God told Simon, He said, Simon, Simon, Satan desired to have you so that he may sift you as wheat. But I am praying for you that when you are encouraged, you strengthen your brother.
Yes.
And so even in the moments that it's hard, even in the moments that you feel like you can't lift up your head, you still have to say, hey, come on, let's go. You got this. You need me to walk with you. You need me to sit with you. You need me to pray for you. What is it that you need? And so I make sure that I do that. I do. I make sure, because I think that it's a terrible thing, and to a degree, because so many people aren't really there yet to share their story because they're not really at a place of healing and wholeness yet where they can just really reach and get somebody else. That's why He says when you are encouraged, because you have to come to a place in yourself of healing and wholeness where you're strong enough that you can go and strengthen somebody else. So I encourage each person to go, and if you need counseling, if you feel like you're low, go and get counseling. If you feel like you need somebody to talk to, call and lean on somebody. If you feel like, Lord, there are moments where I just go and I lay out on the floor and I just cry out and say, Lord, I need you to help me in this place. Like, that's what you have to do to get to that place so that you can be used too. And so I'm intentional about it.
Yes.
If I see somebody and they need me, I can be right there. I can sit with you in your silence, so I can pray you out that thing. You just tell me where we going with this. Because I have time.
Yes, I got time today. I got time today. You hear me?
I will not let you die in this place.
No.
So
I
put you
can't.
on my back.
Yes.
Carry me out.
Yes.
You better get on my back because we getting out of here.
That's it. That is it. That is it. I am so encouraged because even I talk about, this is your moment, your testimony. And like I said, we're in this, seems like this club that we didn't ask to be in.
Yeah.
And so there is another young lady, and there's so many people who have had tragic experiences in their lives. And one young lady who is actually the reason why I even know what happened to my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So had it not been for her survival, like your survival, then they would have never caught the man who killed my mother, kidnapped my mother and killed my sister. And she survived, and she reached out to me way back in 2008, 2009. And it was within the past maybe 4 or 5 years that we connected. Because sometimes you have those fears. You have like, okay, who is this person? I don't even know what happened to my mama, so why am I going to want to talk to this young lady? Who is she? And so we connected, and we connected over a common bond, and just knowing that her strength to survive, she decided to become a victor, not a victim. It happened to her, but she decided to overcome it. And so I'm grateful for this young lady. And she'll be on the show soon, as she comes into her place. And it takes a long time sometimes to get to healing, to get to wholeness, to get to the place where it can even articulate what happened to you. And I feel that. And so she and I have become friends over time, and I'm grateful for her life. I'm grateful for her tenacity, and her testimony is absolutely powerful. And I am like, Lord Jesus, like how they say, you've gone through some things, but there is somebody out there, that has had something worse than you, that has had something happen to them that is breathtaking. And so I'm grateful for your life. I'm grateful for your uh, willingness to survive, and your willingness to, sometimes you have to be a silent lamb, and not talk about, because just want to be regular. I just wanted to be regular. I just wanted to be like normal, man. I just wanted to have, white picket fence, be married, have this wonderful life. Wow, this other stuff got to happen. I ain't asked for this here, but this is okay, So I'm like, well, it's part of my story, and I have a responsibility, like you say, to help. We're gonna come on out of this thing. Whoever it is that's going through something, okay, I may not talk about it a lot or talk a lot, but there's some depth here. And
absolutely.
Don't take me for light, sweetie. So, and that's part of God's plan for our lives, So, we're gonna get ready to wrap up, and Pastor Lucretia, amazing, amazing. Oh my gosh, when I tell you I'm surrounded by some amazing people. Pastor Lucretia Church, she is my mentor, my sister, my friend, and she has a powerful testimony as well, and she's shared here on YouTube. I'm reading from YouTube comments, so they're there, and so she, Grace helps us too in the valleys and the peaks of life. God will give you comfort when you need to be comforted.
Yes, He does.
He is so faithful. Um, she said, make lemonade, not serve it to others. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yes. So I'm eternally grateful, and I'm thankful for my dear cousin Petra, who's joined us, and this has been an awesome time where I believe that God is using it to strengthen other people. And like we said, this is the responsibility that we have. So tell me, you speak to audiences, and tell us how people can reach you.
You can reach me. I have an Instagram that's the underscore bandage, and then I have a Facebook page that's with the bandage
Okay.
that I work directly through. Like it's basically all day encouragement is what I call it. I have Monday morning prayer on Mondays. I won't have it this Monday, but it will be back next Monday.
Okay.
On Facebook every Monday at 7:30, and then I'm on Amplify Network every Friday at 5 a.m. for Texas Fire Friday. Um, I am a minister, so I do preach. That's why the other reason why I'm so tired today. I did have to preach this morning. So, but I love God, and I love people, and I love helping people. So I have a certification for trauma, mental health, and behavioral health coaching. And so I do that too. And so I have a nonprofit that can help the homeless and low income in Fort Worth and surrounding areas. So I'm I kind of do a lot, but I enjoy all of it. I have a book, Broken Keys, and so yeah.
Okay. So I'll be sharing those things, and I also want to thank God for Miss Shantae Church, Miss um, oh gosh, she's been my little sister, like Pastor Lucretia's daughter, so Tiara, who's here as well. So beautiful spirit, beautiful, beautiful spirit. Her and her children have just, come into our lives, and so I'm grateful for her, for just being here and just sharing. And so, I'm thankful for you. And again, your ministry is Rip the Bandage. Oh gosh,
Yeah.
that's so powerful. Rip the Bandage, and you are a licensed minister, and you share the gospel, and you teach. And tell us how people can get in contact with you. Other than Instagram, is there email, or how can people get in contact with you?
My email is ripthebandage@att.net.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
then my Rip the Bandage, I have a Rip the Bandage phone number as well.
Okay.
And that's 214-531-7222. I also have a Rip the Bandage YouTube page as well. So
Okay. Okay.
you can
So
get in contact with me.
yes, please, guys, please. Let me tell you something. You want to book her. You want to get her book. This is key. Give the name of your book again.
It's Broken Keys by
Broken.
Adrian Height.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Broken Keys. This is Hights, not
Yes.
HEI, but Hights. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
yes, so we want to make sure to support her and book her and reach out to her to share at your church, your event, your community gathering, whatever you have going on. Bring her in um, to just encourage other people. And I met her one time in person. Let me tell you something. When I tell you her spirit is so beautiful, and I was like, oh my goodness. And when I say she's real, authentic, and true, I mean, the first time we sat down and talked, she was like, "Girl, you know what? You know you wrong for that." I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay." I mean, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I was like, "See, I can vibe you, okay?" So it was all good. So I appreciate authentic and real people, and you are definitely one of those. And so I'm grateful for your life. I'm grateful for your survival, grateful for your testimony, and that you're willing to share it with us. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So, do you have any closing thoughts that you would like to share with us as we get ready to close out?
I just like to say thank you for having me on the
Yeah.
Aisha I Am Woman show.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed this tonight. And thanks for allowing me to share my testimony. And I pray that it helps somebody else know and understand that they can come through what they've been through or what they've been going through, and then know that God is a very present help in time of trouble.
Yes.
And I would have fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of God in the land of the living, to know and understand that even if it doesn't seem like you're going to make it, you're going to make it. You just trust God and you can make it through anything.
Amen. 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 So, Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing with such transparency and you know, genuineness. And you know, of course, we will have you again. Of course, I'll be in contact with you, and we touch base every now and again. But I just want to thank everybody for joining in right here on the Aisha I Am Woman show, where needed conversations happen. We meet every Sunday evening right here at 6:30 Central Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 Pacific Time, right here every Sunday evening. And we have such amazing things going on Megasource Entertainment, where Richard Adams is the owner, founder, the man with a vision, and he's on Tuesdays and Saturdays. And so you want to make sure that you tune in for conversations on Tuesdays. Saturdays is music. We have Dave Curtis, who is helping us work out our bodies and get it together and, you know, stay fit. You know, you want to join him on 5:30 Eastern Time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we have Wine Up Wednesdays with DJ Red. He rocks it out. And so I just want to encourage everybody to join Megasource, megasourceentertainment.com, for all of our personalities who come on and share. This is a growing entity that is doing amazing, amazing things. So join us next week. Right here, I have a very special guest, Mr. Donnell Roberts, who will be joining us, and we'll be talking about love and about purpose. And you know, men and women. I started a series on what men want. So, women, if y'all want to know what men want, we got a man who is ready to tell you, you know, what men want. So join us next week, Sunday, 6:30 Central Standard Time, right here on the Aisha I Am Woman show. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.